Hi, it's Cora with a K. Um, this video is going to be about mental health and autism and what it looks like for me. Remember, autism is not the same for everyone. It's all different. So this is just what it looks for me as an overview before you really get to know me in all of the rest of my videos and what I talk about. I talk about mostly cosplay, fashion, and mental health. I do game here and there, and I want to do as many collabs with people as possible with gaming because I am not a good gamer, but I love it. It's so much fun. So always comment and see if you want to show me what you want to uh, look at and talk about on my channel. I have a Discord if you ever want to talk. Please follow, like, subscribe. Yay! Autism, is it a blessing or is it a curse or a blessing? Okay. Also, if I hope you guys can see this the way I see it. Autism, what it is and what it isn't. It is a neurological and developmental disability. This can include intellectual problems, learning disabilities, and often gender and sexual dysphoria. It is a unique disability, and that it depends on the person. If you know, people like to say, if you know one person with autism, you only know one person with autism. Yeah, and it's genetic. It's also a spectrum. Like I said, you know one person with autism, you just know one person with autism. And some like to say it is an evolutionary thing, and I like to refer to it as such because it makes me feel a little bit better about what it is. You know, it's just nice to think, hey, I'm a little different, but you know, that's a good thing in this case. It's good. Alright, what it isn't. It is not an intellectual disability. It's not a disease at any point or circumstance. And it's not the same for everyone who has it. Like I said, it is different for everyone. And everyone is different who has it and from those who don't have it. Because everyone is different. No matter what. No matter if they have autism or not. They're different. There are many levels, it's a spectrum, so everyone is pretty much on their own level. And there's about 75 million people who have autism. So I like to say there are 75 million people. Not people. There are 75 million levels to autism. Yes. And give or take, of course. People have different ways of describing the severity of autism. There's a severity on the side that there's nonverbal people who, can't be by themselves, and that's okay. I am not one of those people. I'm very fortunate that I don't have that kind of autism, and my autism is a gift, I like to say. I think it is for most of us, in a sense. Yeah. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the next one. Masking. Okay, masking. This is a big thing. Masking is changing how you walk, talk, interact, and basically everything about yourself so you can fit in. A lot of people with autism mask, especially females. That's basically who we're going to be talking about this because I am female. But men do mask as well. It's just not as common because our social norms are very different. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be. It's hard to know if you mask or not after a while because you forget. who you really are. And it's a challenge. Women don't get diagnosed early, and here's a couple of reasons, not all of them, but here's a couple of reasons why. Women are more likely to, because they're conditioned to mask in extreme levels because of how people perceive them and how they don't. You know, it's very much a game of if they have autism, if they don't. For doctors, it's hard to tell for women who mask, because women who mask are pretty much expert level maskers. And it's out there. They just lay it out for them to see if you don't mask, and that's pretty difficult. For boys, they don't typically mask because they either, some reasons are because they don't care how people perceive them, or they don't know how to. Girls are very high masking individuals because girls are very social, and like it or not, girls can be very rude to each other in different ways than boys can. Girls talk under the table to their friends, they talk behind people's backs, and that's hard for an autistic person because it doesn't make sense to us. Like, why would you do that to your friends? Why would you do that to anyone? I don't like that. It's very difficult. But girls are big with insecurities. Insecurities are your enemy's biggest weapon, and if you don't mask, it's all out there. So it's a very dangerous thing. Women are also less likely to get diagnosed with autism because of this. So if you genuinely didn't know your friend had autism, that's probably because they're very high masking, and it's hard to know the difference if they should mask, if they shouldn't mask. It's a whole thing. It's difficult, to say the least. Okay. Symptoms that women try to mask. Impulsivity to an extreme. A hard time socially, in situations like that where they can be misunderstood or misinterpreted in different ways. It's very difficult for that. There's a lot of poor eye contact that comes with autism. Like, I even have contact issues with my avatar in a way because she has eyes. It's a little difficult. Some people obviously don't feel that way. It can be easier, but that's why I look down so much. It's a little difficult. Anyways, did I skip? Yeah, I accidentally skipped one. That's not fair. Oh. I feel like people are texting me and I don't know what that's... This is weird. Okay, impulsivity, poor eye contact, social norms, yes. There we are. Repetitive or stimming behavior. So what that is that could be the iconic hand flapping. That could be just rubbing your fingers out together. That's what I do. I tap my fingers a lot, or tapping shoes, tapping your feet, bouncing your leg up and down. I do that pretty much constantly. So that's draws attention to us, so we try to mask it or not do it, which comes to certain situations we'll talk about later. Unable to understand emotions. That's very common. It's hard. Insensitivity to sounds and lights. Sometimes learning and mental health comes into play with autism, and we have to disguise that to show we are normal. We are like you. But we're not. And we shouldn't have to hide. That's the big thing. We shouldn't have to. Now to the next page. We somewhat fit in with our peers. Actually, let's go back to the other page. I'll talk about what I have. I think that would be nice. I have actually pretty much all of these, and I have extreme mental health disabilities, not because of my autism, but because of the way people interacted with me and my autism. Trauma is very common in autism. It's called the autism trauma. There's so much that goes into that, and it's not just, it's the way people perceive you and what they do and what they don't do to help you in that situation, and that's not always anyone's fault. What happens when we mask? Yes, this can be both a good thing and a bad thing. So good things that happen is that we fit in with the social norms and our peers. There can be, big word there, can, not always, can be less bullying or abuse. Sometimes we don't stand out as much. Sometimes our peers can view us as equals. People understand us in an easier way. Notice how these are all about other people's comfort levels, not ours, and not the autistic comfort level. This is about making everyone else comfortable with us. Some more about what happens when we mask. This is the bad stuff. We're unable to express how we feel very well, or even at all. We're exhausted from even an hour of social interactions or just being with our family. It's a lot. People cannot see the real me. The me that I get to be on this channel. And in normal life, people can't see that because I mask all the time. And they don't really know who you are. They don't know your interests, your thoughts, your words. You're playing a part. It's something totally different. Not able to say what we want. And yeah, we're unable to say what we need to. Unable to self-soothe, like I said, stimming. We're not able to do that as much when we mask, and it's pretty difficult to not do that, because even if we do it a little, that immediately gives us away, and it's hard. It's hard when people can tell, because then they treat you differently. But sometimes people use that as a weapon. They tell you right away, so if you're not good for them, they can tell faster. Another thing is emotional damage and buildup. It happens over time, and you're holding all your emotions in deep, and then boom, boom, it erupts, and it's, well, it's an explosion. Anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues, we're going to be talking about that a little later, specifically mine. Unhealthy coping skills, again, we're going to talk about that and what I have gone through in that sense. And there's a lot more stuff. All of this leads to emotional distress and outbursts, along with life-threatening behaviors like unhealthy coping skills. Masking is something we have to do to ensure our safety and well-being, but should we have to? That's the real question. We shouldn't have to do that. It shouldn't be a mandatory thing. But right now, that's the only option we have. So, is being autistic bad? No, it's not. There's a lot of positivity that comes with it. Let me get my notes. My notes. Okay. Is it all bad? Is it a disease? No, it's not. There are many good things about autism. This includes, but is not limited to, sounds like an ad commercial, creative problem solving, hyperfixation, or hyperfocus. We fixate on one thing and usually becomes an obsession until we do it or until we get it right. That can be in math, science, arts, anything really. It could be a hobby, a problem that you're working on for school, anything. We are very creative overall. We do things outside the norm. It's very refreshing for some people. They're like, oh, I didn't think of that. And it's like, well, yeah, I did. So it's good. It makes us feel good when we thought of something no one else could. Attention to detail. This is really nice, especially when you do what I do, and that's cosplay. We notice things that are like impossible for other people to notice. Although this can be a little confusing to us because then we're like, are people gonna notice? Like, what if they don't notice? What if this? What if that? Like, it becomes a whole ordeal. Honesty. We are very honest. And with that comes a great sense of justice. A very strong sense of justice. We have a lot of empathy for people. A lot of resilience. Excellent memory. We can, it's almost like a photographic, but they don't call it that. Sometimes they do. But sometimes they don't. And overall, we are very accepting of others. We have come to acknowledge that we're different and we see that differences in so much else. And we want everyone to be happy. And lastly, credits! Yay! These are the credits of my stuff. I'm not gonna read them out loud, but this is all the credits of the artwork that we have. Thank you so much for coming to the video. Please like and subscribe and follow me on my social medias at Core with a K 4120. That's Core 4120. I will have links below if you want to check me out. I talk about cosplay and my dogs and mental health over there. And I have a Discord if you ever need a safe space or just somewhere to talk about J fashion in general, or cosplay. Thank you so much. Bye.